All right, so this is post observation. How did you think that the lesson went? Using Nearpod and that tool.
Well, I like the tool. I like that that it helps me to keep track of what's going on, and it gives me an opportunity to adjust as needed. But there are some things that I'll have to figure out how to deal with as I get better at using this. But overall, like I said, I feel like everything went as I thought it would go. Maybe a little adjustments here and there are going to have to be made. For the most part, kids were more engaged than just a regular presentation where, the old school where I talk and they're supposed to write notes down. This takes the listening, writing portion out of it. They've already done all the writing ahead of time when they scan the lesson, and now it's just focusing on me, focusing on the material, and how it will translate over into eventually an assessment at the end. So I did like what it offered capability-wise.
That the before activity, the starter question about the New Deal and everything. I like that y'all are able to. They're kind of able to respond. You look at the responses and talk about them. What did you think about that?
That's one of those things that we'll have to get them into the routine of really being active and really trying to answer. That's one of those where I had to really coax it out of them. All right, if you don't know it, you got to guess. You got to give me something, and that's one of those where it kind of takes a little bit longer. There's a lot more wait time than you want to, and it kind of makes you feel like you have to hurry towards the end to make the quiz and get the quiz in. So I like the open-ended question. I might turn it into just a multiple choice the next time that I do it, just because it takes so long to get the answers. Like sometimes I get something about Teddy Roosevelt or something like that, just because kids are, and they're getting used to it as well. But some of them didn't do the reading ahead of time, didn't do what they're supposed to. So it's hard to get everybody going, and there's a little bit of a lag time in between, the before and the during because of that.
Yeah, I could see that. It's a process. I know just getting kids to answer anything is always a process. So, now the during, I saw kind of how that played out a lot like a PowerPoint, but as you're sliding through the slides, it's sliding through on their phones. There's interactive portions. It was definitely interesting. What'd you think about that?
Oh man, like I said, I like it. I like the fact that I'm able to control everything. I'm able to elaborate on what I need to, and I'm still in control, just like I would be with a presentation. But at the same time, they're going to have their phones are going to be around them anyway. So at least I can use it for an instructional tool rather than having to always concentrate on having to walk around and make sure they're not doing what they're supposed to. So I do like it, just as easy, because then I don't have to stare at the screen as much. I can look out over into the audience a little bit more to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I do like the fact that it's in front of them, and it's also everything's in front of me.
I like too that since they've already written most of this stuff down, that you're not waiting on somebody to go through to the next slide and all that stuff. So they're paying attention and listening instead of so worried about writing everything down.
With the exception of the questions, I'm able to dictate the pace, and that's important to get through the lesson. So I like that capability.
That's good. And then the quiz at the end. Why don't you tell us about that and how you think the results went?
All right, so the quiz at the end is 5 multiple choice questions, and usually I try to vary the type of questions. Sometimes I'll give them 4 choices. Sometimes I'll give them a select all that apply, and I'll give them about 8 choices, and 4 or 5 are correct, and a few are not correct. And it gives them a chance to kind of see, what they learned from the lesson, and it gives them a chance to understand. I need to go back and look at this in a little bit more detail. And I do emphasize that at the end, and hopefully I won't have to continue emphasizing that as I continue to use this. But I emphasize, most everybody's missing this one. We're adding this that didn't occur with it. This this was not part of the first New Deal. This was part of the second New Deal or something like that. And it gives me an opportunity to correct mistakes before the big summative test at the end. So I feel like the quiz is really the most beneficial part of the assessment process, of the formative assessment process. Even more important just than the open-ended question right now. I feel like the quiz is what's going to help us out the most.
Okay. And like with every approach in in education, there's always room for improvement. So what do you think could maybe help you to improve or help to improve the whole Nearpod experience?
Well, obviously time and experience is going to help us out, getting used to the process of being expected to pay attention and to tie pictures to words and to carry that over into a question about a specific piece of information. That's going to take some time, but I feel like there's a little bit, because we're not a one-to-one school, there's a little bit of opportunity for distraction, and even though with Nearpod, I didn't mention this, it can kind of tell you who is logged in and staying on task and who is going to log out and be focused on other stuff, whether it be social media or all the stuff that we're trying to combat during a lesson. I feel like if I didn't have to allow them to use their phones, if I could completely get rid of the phones as part of this process, and we could all use laptops or we could all use an iPad or some type of a tablet or something like that, I feel like I could really hone in on the ones that get distracted easily and zone out. I feel like if I can do that, not only are the scores going to improve for a few, but they're going to improve for everybody, because you pretty much have to pay attention. If you're logged out of your phone, if you're in this and you're required to answer, and you can use a rewards-based system at the end for whoever gets a 5 out of 5 on the quiz or something, but give them some sort of an incentive to stay locked into the lesson, because I feel like nowadays that we battle that more than anything, just the focus side of things. And this can really be good for that. It can really be good for that if you're able to control what they can and can't get access to during the lesson.
That's hard to do on the cell phone. I understand that. Just from what I got to see, I thought it was a really, really well done presentation. Content-wise is always good. Kids did seem to be like they were very involved, and they are engaged. It's definitely more effective, in my opinion, than just a traditional PowerPoint. You get to monitor who's there, who's logged in, who's doing what, and there's I kind of thumb through Nearpod myself a little bit. There's collaborative slides and things. They can post memes and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty cool kind of part of it all, and I did enjoy the lesson. Start to finish, I thought you did a really good job. And I appreciate again you letting me come in and watch you do what you do, and I look forward to kind of working with this and just improving what we can improve.
I appreciate you watching it for me, because it does help to have another set of eyes. Was there anything you were able to see that maybe I couldn't see from the front of the room as I was able to be able to conduct the lesson, but still from a bystander point of view, was there anything that you saw that I need to focus on more, or that needs to improve in order for this thing to improve, that not necessarily the one-to-one thing, but something about what was going on with the class and between me and the class?
Yeah, I saw about what you saw. You got kids who, not necessarily that were using the computers that would get off task, but you see lights flashing on phones and things like that. Man, you can't really, the kid may not have even been on or answered the message that they got, but it is just a distraction when that light flashes, when something rings. And like I said, I don't think there's a whole lot that you can do personally about that. I just think that it's a part of the process. That's something, much like you mentioned, that we can try to figure out ways around. It's not going to be easy. May not be practical right now, but that is something that just the cell phone issue brings to the table. Outside of that, I don't know much else. I know there's a few more different kinds of slides we might look at making purposeful, but they're not all easy to use in the classroom. So, but I thought you did a fantastic job, man. I really appreciate what you do for the school and these kids. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and come back and I feel like I'm going to give a test after we finish doing all these, and I feel like we're going to bump up at least 5 points on average, just because of the preparation side of things and the engagement side of things. But come back and see me again, and if maybe I can get a small class that's all using laptops, completely get the phones out of the picture, maybe we can really get a good lesson going, and then we can share it with some of the other teachers if they want to use this for formative assessment, because it'll work with science and English, and it could probably even work with math if you could find a way to get your slides on there and get everything the way you want it to.
All right. Will
Thanks.
do. Thanks,
Appreciate
sir.
it. Sir.